Peace, and welcome to another special episode of Out the Box Talks. I'm your host, Krill. We are at episode 63. I want to just say peace to all of the listeners, all of the viewers that tune in on a regular. As you know, we put out a brand new episode every Friday, which can be found on our YouTube channel, Out the Box TV, as well as the audio podcast via platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, Overcast, Stitcher, wherever you generally seek out podcasts. So, I've been kind of rocking in the beginning of the year, and just kind of going week after week. And I have to say, man, it's been fun. I've been having a great time. I think last year we did a lot last year in terms of the audio shows. But this year, as I said, I really wanted to start putting more shows out on the YouTube platform. As y'all know, man, Out the Box TV been around for quite some time, man, well over a decade. And, this is the first year where I'm like becoming very, very consistent again in years, putting out new episodes. So I hope that y'all are enjoying the interviews that you see, and also that you hear. They are available. I try to put snippets out on Instagram as well as on, our Twitter and Facebook page. I want to give a shout out to my co-host A-Level. Big ups to him, man. He got some things that he's working on in the pipeline that you guys will probably hear soon. So yeah, man, I just want to give my love and shout out to all the listeners and fans that's been rocking with us, man. The gratitude is greatly, there, man. And we got our merch site up now too. So make sure you go to outtheboxmedia.com to go check that out. We got our Patreon page as well, where we give you exclusive interview clips that you've never heard before. So you got to be a subscriber to actually access those interview clips, but it's only available for our Patreon subscribers. So, definitely follow the website. I'm gonna put the banner up. It's outtheboxmedia.com, and become a subscriber for free, just so that we could keep you connected with all the things that we do. And the people that subscribe to our website usually are the first people to hear the shows when it comes out. And we keep you updated with all the other stuff happening with Out the Box. So without further ado, we got a new show today. Like I said, this is episode 63. And I have an artist with me that I've been checking out for a little while now, and her music is extremely innovative, creative, it's thought-provoking, it just pushes boundaries, and as you guys know, Out the Box, we are about putting the artists out there that's pushing the culture forward. And I feel like she's doing a wonderful job elevating hip hop culture and, just, doing her thing as a young musician. So, just a little insight about her. She put out an album earlier this year, in January. It's called With the Shifts. But prior to that, last year was like a really busy year for her. And she put out a project with a sister named Jay Words, who's a producer under the group name Ear. So, and that project really blew my mind when I heard it, man. So some of y'all might be familiar with this sister, but if you're not, we're going to make sure you get familiarized tonight. So without further ado, I want to welcome to our Out the Box Talks viewing and listening audience, my sister hailing from Brooklyn, New York, representing the city that Out the Box is from. Like I said, she's been doing her thing, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. So I want to give a warm welcome to my sister, Maassai, from Brooklyn, New York, holding it down on Out the Box Talks. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for that introduction, first of all. That was fire.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you. And like I said, man, like your music is really innovative, and I love the direction that you take it creatively. So I want to talk to you about that today. How are you, first of all? How's everything with you at this point in time?
I'm great. Thank you again. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I just been working, creating, trying to stay, tunnel vision. But yes, I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I'm just happy to continue to do this, right? Like I'm really invested in the culture and showcasing artists like yourself who really have something special to offer to the art form. So, like I said, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Indeed. So I want to get into some of your projects, right? Particularly the latest one, with the ships, but as well the Velocity project. But before I do that, I like to give the artists an opportunity to tell the listeners out there a little bit about yourself. So tell me a little bit about your history. How did this music journey become a reality for you? When did it all start?
Well, I would say my first like moments or experiences with music were really young, at a really young age. I have, cousins and aunties and uncles, my mom, I have a lot of people who've been, like in hip hop culture, whether they were producers or rappers. So I had that surrounded by me growing up. So I would say my earliest moments with it have been from young. Um, and when I was about like 14, I put out a mixtape. 14, 15, put out my first mixtape. Um, and once I got into college, I started gigging a lot in Brooklyn. I've been gigging for probably like since 2015, 2014. So it's been a minute of me like just performing, like just to make ends meet. Um, but yeah, here I am now.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And I could actually hear it. Like you sound very seasoned, you know, like even though I know you're young and we're just getting a chance, a lot of people are just getting a chance to hear you. It seems like this has been something that has been brewing for a long time. You
For
know,
sure.
I actually listened to an interview where you spoke about you having like history with jazz. Can you talk a little bit about how jazz has influenced you and just your outlook as an artist?
Hmm. Yeah. So again, like with jazz too, like my growing up, like my grandmother was a jazz vocalist. My grandfather plays Latin jazz. He's Panamanian. And when younger, I don't think I had as much of an appreciation for it as, just like having it around and being very familiar with it. But when I got older, like into high school, into college, jazz became something that I found a deep appreciation for, just in terms of it being such intellectual music. I feel like jazz is so like similar to, hip hop in the means of, even when you think about like jazz heads, these like they were just like some hood dudes like making intellectual, music, Um so yeah, jazz definitely like informs most things that I make. It's that improvisational, going with the flow type of vibe.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, and I hear, I hear bits of it like throughout your music, so I could definitely see that influence. Now, automatically, when your name comes up, right? I think and probably most people think about it, they actually relate it to the Maasai people of Kenya and Tanzania. Now tell
Mhm.
me how much of your name is actually inspired by the Maasai people of Africa.
All of it is. That's my actual name, my birth name, for one. And I just feel like it encapsulates, not not even only who I am, but in terms of like who I want to be. Maasai tribe, they're warriors. You know, Maasai women are badass. Like I just, yeah. What can I say? It's a good name. It's my
Yeah.
name.
I was gonna ask you too. I was like, maybe that's her real name, but nowadays you're like, okay, that could be just a name. So I'm glad that you were able to speak on that. So like that is so I would say like that energy's probably been with you from young. Like, the whole understanding of the Maasai. Like so let me ask you, being that you were born with that name, like when do you remember getting sat down and like someone like in your family, whether your mom or dad, kind of explaining like their reasoning for the name and the history of the Maasai people? Do you remember, getting that information young?
Somewhat for sure. Well, actually, like growing up, my family, a lot of them called me Buffy. That was like my nickname. But also people called me Masai, and they added an E at the end because they felt like Masai was just like so much of a strong name for like a little kid. So I didn't actually come into that name until like the ending of high school, where I was like, okay, this is my name. Everybody's saying Masai, like let me own this now, like I'm coming into my womanhood. But yeah, my mom definitely liked the name because I think she thought I would be a boy actually, and it's a kind of unisex name, and she just really appreciates the tribe and the culture.
Dope. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever like, I mean, I don't know, but have you ever like visited Tanzania or Kenya to actually see them?
I haven't, but definitely plan on making some trips, not only there, but to, several places on the continent for sure.
Dope. That's good to hear. So the project that you put out last year entitled Velocity with producer Jay Words,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I want to talk to you about that. But I kind of want to go a little bit back just to talk about how you and Jay Words came together. Can you talk about how y'all even came together to collaborate?
Facts. Yeah, well, me and Jen met 2017 at a show in Bushwick. We were both on the bill, and it was an amazing show that night. Everybody killed it. It was my first time seeing Jen. It was Jay Words. It was Jay Words' first time seeing me. And so right off the rip, we were just like, all right, we got to work together. Like, this would be crazy. Like, you're mad good at producing. This is innovative. This is cool. I'm good at rapping. Let's do this. But we didn't actually start making music for real together until 2019, really. But we spent the time before just kind of cultivating our friendship. So she's a music collaborator, but also a really good friend of mine.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, you guys have a very good chemistry together, right? Like you could just hear it on the project. And even when, I see you guys in pictures together or even
Mm-hmm.
like little videos I've seen, it just seems like y'all just mesh so well.
We do.
What do you think has enabled you guys to have such a good chemistry? Now, I also say this, I know that you guys are air signs. So
Mm-hmm.
in addition to that, I would say, like, what do you think meshes? Or if maybe you want to just add on to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're always like Aquemini, because I'm a Gemini. Jay Words is an Aquarius. So it's the air sign. We're real logical. We're real in our heads. But on top of that, both of us are like mad chill. Like we're chill individuals, and that really, like, for me, that's like a thing. If I'm gonna be around you a lot, you gotta know how to just vibe out, because my energy. So I think that was one thing that really meshed us together. We had similar, like, just temperaments.
That's what's
For sure. Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see the air signs too, because I'm an air sign. I'm an Aquarius. So
Hey,
that
gang.
whole kind of, going all into a whole different world and stuff and just kind of being by yourself. Like I totally get that, and I see that also a theme that kind of reoccurs in the Velocity album.
Mm-hmm.
But that's dope. So velocity. So let's talk about velocity, because I want to talk about with the shifts, but I want to really just dissect velocity first. We'll go
Yeah.
into with the shifts. So velocity, right? The term itself is defined as the speed of something in a given direction. When did y'all realize that y'all were grooving in the right direction with this album?
I would say after the first couple, well, honestly, after each song, we realized it more and more. Because the first song we recorded was Toxic Behaviors, which is the last song, or the second to last song on the project. And we were like, oh, okay, that's fire. Then the next song was a completely different vibe. I can't even remember which one it was, but it was a completely different vibe. And we were like, oh, we got a lot of different, different flavors happening here. And so the title Velocity, that was one of the last things that we came up with. The project kind of definitely like crescendos. It like goes, it kind of gets faster, gets more dancey, starts kind of cerebral. So that was kind of like the idea behind that.
Dope. So I actually want to talk about some of the lyrics on the album, right? And one of the first songs that really stuck out to me, and I mean, you're saying a lot on this project in the first place. Like I think the project is made for the listener to go back and listen over and over again and discover something new. So one of the songs that, like I said, that stuck out to me was Precious Silence, the second track on the album. And you have a lyric where you say, how it feels to miss out on your blessings. Ain't it hard? I will take it out on God. I just know some people are frauds. Pick their cards and blame it on hell. You really want to save your own self. You can't put a payment on wealth. You can't put your spirit on sale. And you continue on. Very profound lines, by the way.
Thank you.
I wanted you to explain what you meant when you said you can't put a payment on wealth. What does that line mean in regards to the message you wanted to convey?
Word. I guess I just wanted to communicate the idea that, if we're focused on, capital all the time, we're always focused on material, but we're not, focusing inwards and, on being authentic people, then we're gonna end up messed up and unhappy, And so I guess that's kind of what I was alluding to in that,
That makes sense. I it stuck out to me because, when you think about wealth, right? Like, I'm going back to the line where you say, you can't put payment on wealth. Like, you're dealing with two financial terms here, right?
Right.
Payment on wealth. It was dope how you put them together, but yet they mean two different things. You know what I'm saying? So that was dope, and you do that a lot in music. There's these little juxtapositions of like clever wordplay. So I gotta say, big ups to you for that kind of approach.
Thank you.
Indeed. There's another track on that album. It's called "Breathe Through It," and it starts off with a spoken word interlude where you say, "I'm whole and complete by myself. My reliance on external forces does not allow me to progress within myself, but instead hinders me from true introspection and self-evolution. I allow myself to be inspired by external forces, though, and grow from my relationships with others that are not bound by codependency or possession." Now, of course, you're going to say more, but I just want to stop there to just say, that's deep line in general, like just a deep line to kind of start the song off it. So I wanted to know, like, what inspired you to open the track with those words?
Well, yeah, those words are actually an affirmation. That's an affirmation that I say to myself often. I was saying to myself very often. I kind of slacked a little bit. But that's an affirmation I wrote, when I wake up in the mornings to just get myself right for my day. And I thought that it was fitting to put it on that song based on the way that the lyrics that I wrote to the song were kind of in affirmation. So the lyrics kind of continues the affirmation in a lot of ways. Just, I go on to say, be who you want to be. I'm an entity and I don't need external validation as long as I'm feeling me, like I'm kind of affirming throughout the song as well.
I could see that. And the reason why I asked, what inspired it, because it off the bat, it sounded like it was something you created, but it also sounded like it could have been something that came from like some type of inspirational text, So the fact that you wrote it is dope. Like,
Thank you.
Like, cite your own words as an affirmation every day. Like, that's dope.
Thank you.
Have you ever thought of maybe creating like some type of book or some type of written material that's based on affirmations that other people can benefit from?
Yes, I definitely have. I'm glad that you said that. That's so cool. But yeah, definitely have thought about doing that for a little merch situation
Nice.
At some point.
Nice. Yeah, man. I mean, like it like I said, when I heard it, it sounded like something that was already in a text that was already published. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's good. That's good to know. All right. So I just want to say you are lagging a little bit, like the video might be lagging a little bit. So maybe you could just come in and come back out, come back out and come back in. But we'll keep rocking.
Okay.
So just to add on to that actual song, right? I sense that you're talking about independence as well too. So I wanted to ask you, like, what, like in reference to that line, like why is that level of independence and freedom so important to your happiness? So when you talk about not being hindered from the outside forces, the external forces, and being whole and complete by yourself, like it talks about a level of independence, and I think air signs could really understand that too. Yeah, talk to me about what is empowering about your independence that and your freedom that you want to have for yourself, away from external forces.
Well, I think that, like, for one, like, you gotta be with yourself and be good with yourself to really like know yourself, for one, and then two, if you're not whole, you're never gonna find happiness elsewhere. You can't let external forces tear you down when they're not even gonna give you anything for real, because you don't have anything yourself. So yeah, autonomy is like super important to me, and super important for me to affirm over and over again, especially as a woman, because I feel like, growing up, when you talk about conditioning and gender roles and stuff, I feel like a lot of the times, girl children aren't taught autonomy, aren't taught independence. They're taught, nurturing, and that's a great skill as well that every human should have. But autonomy is something that I definitely always want to affirm over and over again for myself.
Definitely. Where would you say your inspiration for that mindset came from?
Well, for one, I grew up like an only child. I'm the only child for my mother. And I was largely raised by my grandmother. So I think that, I always been, I would just go in the corner and like escape into my mind and be off somewhere, like as a kid, so being independent and being, in solitude has always been really important to me. And I think as I grow older, it's harder to just, escape like that. So just making sure that I keep that energy locked up. Yeah.
So my favorite track on Velocity has to be Toxic Behavior. I mean, Jay Words just definitely did her thing on the beat. It's like as soon as that beat drops, it's just like so addicting. Like the vibe, right? But due to its fast pace, it honestly seems pretty difficult to rap over. So my question to you is, how difficult was it for you to rap over this beat, and how'd you decide the lyrical approach you would take?
Mm. First of all, every J Words beat is a challenge to get on. It's not going to be it's not easy, you know? And I love that about her beats because I like a challenge. It sharpens me, strengthens me as a writer. With toxic behaviors, it was difficult to get on it. But I'm trying to think like how I thought to approach it. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just came to me. Usually I sit there for a minute with the beat and I'm just like with it, trying to find pockets. And I found a cool pocket that felt kind of dancey to me. And I just stuck with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because when you listen to the track, there's one way that you're rapping, and then I think somewhere a little bit into the track you switch it up, and that's really cool too. I can't remember the actual the pattern, but it sounds really good when you switch it up. So yeah, I could tell, like, just listening to the entire project, like her beats are definitely not for the faint of heart when it comes to MCing. So that's dope that you were able to take on that challenge.
Facts, yeah. And I noticed like now, like I'm better and better at attacking them now. Like whenever she sends me a beat, I'm like, yeah, we've kind of synced up in that way at this point.
Dope. Mm-hmm. So y'all put out Velocity last year in September. Mm-hmm. And up to this point, it's been digitally available exclusively on Bandcamp. How has the Bandcamp exclusivity thus far benefited y'all?
Well, for one, we really fuck with Bandcamp. I am a big I'm pro Bandcamp because in terms of just artist integrity, and it just feels like an artist culture, in comparison to a lot of other streaming platforms. And then in terms of compensation, like getting 0.000 something of a cent is honestly, it's just not sustainable for independent artists, And so Bandcamp has been really receptive, and there's been like a shift in the culture, I would say, since quarantine started. People really going to support artists, probably because they can't support them, physically at shows. And so there's been a shift in the culture, and I'm hoping that it stays that way. Post quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, Bandcamp is pretty inspiring, man. Like, I'm very plugged into the releases that come out regularly on Bandcamp, and I love the fact that it promote, it really supports the artists, and that artists can choose to have their music exclusively on there up until they decide to put it on the other streaming platforms or not. Now, I imagine that a lot of your fans that were already rocking with y'all supported by picking this album up on Bandcamp, right? Mm-hmm. But how were y'all able to gain a new fan base from this project without it being on any other digital streaming platforms? Like, how were y'all able to garner new people that weren't checking for y'all before?
Well, I think it's also been the love and the support being shown from, supporters who are sharing the music with their peoples, their friends, as well as, certain media outlets also doing the same thing and just supporting music on Bandcamp in general, especially in quarantine where artists are not, being sustained because shows are canceled. That culture I feel like also increased. So yeah.
Well said. So I actually want to shift gears to talk about with the shifts. But before I do that, what I want to do is I'm gonna take a little break just to, shout out some stuff about Outbox, and I'll have you come back in, being that you were lagging a little bit, and see
Okay.
come out and come back in, and let's see if it goes a little bit better. All right.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So we back. I got Sister Masai with me on Out the Box Talks. We having a good conversation. I just she's gonna come back in because her computer internet was lagging a little bit, but we're gonna bring her back in. So please stay with us. We're not going nowhere. Again, this is Out the Box Talks, episode 63. Yeah, 63. So let me just put up the banner. Remember to go to our website, outtheboxmedia.com, where you can actually subscribe and just keep updated with everything we got going with Out the Box Talks. Also, you can go to our Patreon page where you can subscribe there to become to get exclusive interview content that you've never heard before. It's only available to our Patreon subscribers. And I'm gonna throw up our Cash App, right? And also, so if you want to donate to Out the Box and support the movement, you could also go to our Cash App, which is on the screen. That's # Out the Box Rep. We also are on PayPal, so if you want to donate there, you go to paypal.me/outtheboxmedia. And also our podcast can be found on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Just look for Out the Box Talks. All right. So I just wanted to share that with the listeners. Any support that you guys can give is definitely appreciated. You can go to our Big Cartel site where you can get, the Out the Box Media shirt. And we got snapback hats and other stuff. We got some baseball shirts up on the site too. So yeah, man, definitely support as much as y'all can, or if y'all can. All right. So we're gonna get back to our interview. I got Sister Masai, who is a native Brooklynite, really talented. We're talking about her Velocity album. We're going to talk now about the project that she got called With the Shifts. So I'm going to bring Masai back on the stream. Thank you, Masai. I appreciate you coming back on. All right. Hold on. Let me just unmute you real quick. Oh, you got to unmute. Can you unmute yourself, Masai? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So wonderful. So we got Masai back. So I want to, like I said, I want to talk to you about this new project that you came out with in January called With the Shifts. Tell me how this project itself unfolded.
With the shifts. With the shifts was, something that I meditated on for a while, in terms of coming up with what I wanted to say. And the project was definitely just in a time where a lot of shifts were happening in my life, a lot of changes were happening. And I realized that it was a constant theme in my life. So I just wanted to make a project to, talk about that and dissect that, but also honor that and honor my own ability to be able to be adaptable, in the face of change. And so that is the way that project sparked, or it came about.
Dope. Now, immediately when you see the title, right, I feel like there's a double entendre happening there, right? So we know the saying with the shits, right? But then we have with the shifts. Talk to me about the significance of the title, like the actual wording with the shifts.
Right.
Did that come up?
I think it came about just by thinking like, wow, like I really be with the shifts. Like I be with the shits, and they're kind of interchangeable, like in some ways, but with the shifts, it's just, I feel it just resonates a little deeper, when it's like, wow, I really be just moving.
Got
Yeah.
I could dig it. Now, the project in itself, um, although it's not produced by one person, it actually sounds cohesive. So talk to me about, you know, how you got the producers, like who produced it and how did you get them involved to have that particular cohesive sound that I hear in the project?
Facts. Well, yeah, three amazing, prolific producers. Nelson Mandela, Contour, LaRon, they're all, great artists on their own. Yeah, I definitely have a particular, I guess, or particular sounds that I know that I'm attracted to. I like a lot of deep, dirty bass. I like, off kilter drums. And I like, interesting melodies. And I feel like all of the producers on the album definitely have strengths in those areas. So yeah, I'm so honored to have worked with all of them.
So how far do you go back with them? Like, was this like, did you know them for some time or are you just kind of meeting them? What's the history?
I've definitely have spent time with all of them in real time, in real life. I can call all of them friends of mine. The years kind of like vary, a lot, I know them off of like the scene, like just, going out to show, experiencing community together. LaRon is actually my cousin. But we also met, for the first time face to face, just on some community shit. Yeah.
Dope. So I think one of the most intriguing things about the album is the artwork. There's a picture of you on the cover, seated, dressed in white, and there's, like drawings depicted over the image. And I even see like a crown over your head. Can you explain the significance of the cover art and what's actually happening with the depiction?
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah. The idea behind the cover art was to showcase me in, multiplicity, or kind of like different facets. So there were, different layers over the picture. And, the picture was in black and white, but then the overlays were like neon. So that's kind of an ode to like old and new. Sorry.
Good.
But yeah, that's an ode to just like old and new. Yeah, there's kind of a lot of different things happening. Me and the person who created the artwork went, back and forth exchanging ideas. And Dapo Da Vinci is his name, super conceptual artist. And Kristen Powell took the photography beforehand, also an amazing photographer.
That's dope. Yeah, like it's one of those projects that like the cover art grabs you, like you because I saw it circulating a bit and I'm like, and I'll be honest, like this year is the first time I'm even getting to know you as well as your group Air.
Mm-hmm.
So that artwork pulled me in. So they did a good thing in pulling me in because
Thank you.
it makes you curious to know, like, like the art speaks in certain ways
Mm-hmm.
that will intrigue someone to find out more. And I think that's what the cover art did for me.
Thank you.
Indeed. So the second track on the project is entitled Grace Jones. And I really like the vibe of this one. It's one of my favorites on the project. You have a line where you say, y'all be moving oddly unprofessional, but I can't bring my body to the festival in a cold city. I'm trying to dodge the Eskimos. First of all, very dope line.
Thank you.
but you could correct me if I'm wrong. But it sounds like it was a clever way of you critiquing the hypersexual image that's often like perpetuated in urban music today. Can you expound a little bit on that line?
Okay. That's an interesting way to see it. I'm always like open to people's interpretations of stuff because I think it's super dope that things can have multiple different meanings based on perception. But in that, I guess I was trying to say, you know, y'all be moving oddly unprofessional. I'm kind of critiquing, you know, the social structure and critiquing like white supremacy. Like y'all moving oddly unprofessional, you know, yeah, the way y'all moving, Trump in the White House or, but I can't bring my body to the festival. I can't act crazy. I can't get crazy with you. And then in the cold city, I'm just trying to dodge the Eskimos. And then I go on to say, kissing with their noses, trying to sniff for something special they could take and sell. So I feel the whole time I'm kind of like critiquing. You could think of it as, any oppressive gaze, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's like hyper patriarchal gaze, that objectifies, women and their bodies. So I guess you could see it as any kind of oppressive gaze.
I dig it. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So another track on the project is called 9 Lives, where you got a line where you say, "You brave if you honest with yourself. Some dudes can't take the truth. It's honor in that." Why do you think it's so difficult for some people to face the truth of themselves?
Well, I mean, it'd be hard, I recognize that as a tough thing. It's nice, it's easier said than done. I think that a lot of the times, we don't want to take accountability because that takes work. It takes work to hold yourself accountable. It's even harder to hold yourself accountable when you don't actually even have the space to chill and just self-reflect. People are, overworked and, overlooking themselves. So I think there's so many reasons why somebody would not want to face the truth about themselves. But at the end of the day, we have to hold ourselves accountable, especially if we're trying to hold other people accountable,
Yeah, definitely. I could dig that. So my favorite track, I gotta say, on the project, like I said, the Grace Jones track is definitely one of my favorites, but I think the one that just catches me off, right off the rip is the actual track called The Shifts, which features fellow MC Akai Solo. I really like how his vocals comes in on the track, and you do your thing. I ain't even think he was gonna rap on that track, to be honest. Comes in, he's spitting through it, and then I'm like, all right, this probably gonna be just a solo feature for him, and then you come through and you rock it. So I was glad to hear you on the track because I was like, I just really like the beat, and I was like, I'm glad that you spit on it. But talk to me about Akai Solo because I've been hearing about him a little bit, but tell me how far you and him go back and how he actually became a part of this track.
Akai Solo, that's the bro. I've actually known Akai longer than I've known most of the rappers that I know now, It's probably go back to like 2013 vibes. So yeah, I definitely salute Akai. I feel like we're kind of always placed, in each other's, lives or in, the same communities. But yeah, Akai is fire. Akai has the craziest, pockets and flows. He goes where you don't think he's gonna go. Mad dope.
Dope. Yeah, man. Like I think he released a project last year that I honestly didn't get a chance to really listen to thoroughly. But this particular track made me more interested. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those tracks that like you'll hear somebody featured on somebody's record and you might have heard their name before, but just the way they came across on the record makes you now interested in going back. So I got to big you up for putting them on the record because now I'm like interested in really tapping into more of his music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yo, tap in with bro. He Akai has lots of music too. Lots of music out. Lots of gems and jewels all scattered all throughout his discography, for sure.
Dope, dope. Now, earlier you spoke about the scene, right? And you, when we were talking about some of the producers on the project, and you were talking about, you know, meeting them in the scene. Now, talk to me about this scene because, you know, I grew up in Brooklyn in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say like the scene of hip hop in New York has changed a lot, right? I can't even tell you what the scene is. But you talk to me about that. Like, what scene, what is the scene that you came up in?
Mm-hmm.
What people need to know about it? Because I do feel like there's a scene out there, but I'm, as a New Yorker myself, I'm not as plugged in, you know, with the new generation today. So share some you know, some insight on the scene.
Okay, facts. I kind of face palmed while you were saying that because I'm kind of like salty that I used the term scene because it sounds real like you know, but but I guess it's a thing. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many different like communities. They overlap with each other sometimes. But there's definitely a big culture right now, I would say, in New York City that is just on some boundary pushing, like forward Black music vibes. Lots of that happening. Um, so much of it happening. It's so inspiring.
And what would you say has inspired that, right? Because for quite some time there was this thing in the hip hop community where we were saying like, you know, New York fell off, right? New York is not innovative anymore. It's taking whatever is popping and they're, you know, they're pretty much regurgitating that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are the city that, you know, is the birthplace of hip hop. So, and I can see a lot of innovation in this scene that you talk about. So, what is where's the music being inspired from for this scene?
Well, for one, I will say this. I think that like New York has changed, a lot. And a lot of it has to do with gentrification, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, a lot of people, even a lot of people who come to make, music here or are Brooklyn based, a lot of them weren't, they weren't bred by the city itself. So I think that right now New York is a melting pot. It's a mix of people coming from all different walks of life. Even if they're American, they're coming from different parts of, the country. And there's a lot of different influences there. I will say that, even though I'm a Brooklyn diehard, Brooklyn bred, like I rep that to the fullest. I will say that it is inspiring, though, to be surrounded by Black people, from, different walks of life coming together and all, about Black music, you know? So yeah.
Dope. If you care to share, like, who are some of the artists that you think make up this scene, right? Like the innovative artists that people should be checking for. I know you said Akai, but you know, like who are some other people that
What?
you shout out that's kind of doing that innovative music and really, you know, making it happen?
Mm-hmm. For sure. I would say, Kumbaya, who's also, a New York native, and also on With the Shifts. As well as other people who are, you know, like not from New York. You know, Jay Words, who's just neighboring, she's from Jersey, you know, Kia, Amani, who's also a New York native, Nelson, you know, Contour, LaRon, you know, all of these people are just boundary pushing. Nappy Nina. The list honestly goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
think a good reference is to look at the features on your projects.
Facts.
Indeed. So you occasionally sing on some of your records, and I gotta say, it definitely sounds dope, right? I also hear you like harmonizing and the ad libs, all of that's there with the vocalizing. Will there be a chance for a full singing project from you in the future? Because like I said, I think you do a good job when you sing on your projects.
Thank you. Will there be a full singing project? It's possible. It's definitely possible. I have been singing for a real long time. Singing is hard. You know, it's a hard thing. But I love the craft. Sometimes it even comes like more instinctually than rapping does, because I would say I'm a writer for real, you know, like I sit down and I think, you know, about stuff for a minute, you know, and come up with it. Sometimes, you know, faster, it comes faster than others, but singing is very like instinctual to me. When I'll sing walking around the house. So yeah, it's a possibility for sure. I think what I will say is I think that, you know, as a rapper and as a woman, it was definitely something to me to make sure that I make my mark as a rapper, because for some odd reason, when you rap and you sing, especially if you're a woman, people start trying to take your rap card away from you, you know, in a way that's like, and I'm like, no, I do this, okay? This is what I do. So yeah, that amongst the fact that, you know, singing is much harder to do.
I'll say this. From what I've heard from you lyrically as an MC, I don't think you got anything to worry about in terms of your rap card being taken away. But you know, I think when you say it, the singing is instinctual, I think that's something that maybe you could, you know, you continue to pay attention to, because you could probably create a project in that way, you know, like just in that right vibe of doing it off of instinct. I think nowadays, like the rules are like this, people are just breaking all kinds of rules, right? And like music rules. And you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm a proponent of, like, you know, pushing boundaries and just trying new stuff. So hopefully in the future, you know, we do get a chance to hear something like that, even if it's a short project, like maybe a 4-track, you know, just vocalizing. You know, I look forward to that.
Maybe.
Indeed. So an underlying theme in a number of your projects deal with the word direction. Like with the is dealing with moving in a different direction, right? When you're talking about in a different direction. Velocity is like being in the speed of something in a given direction, right? And then you have construction, which is dealing with building in a certain direction, right? You got unsounded points of view, which is dealing with direction as well. So how do you uniquely relate to the idea or the concept of direction?
Damn, wait, you just, okay. All right.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. And I don't think that, I'm not going to say it's not intentional, but I feel like it's an intentional coincidence almost, because I think that that's just a theme that I definitely think about a lot. Like I think about evolution. I think about moving forward. Like I feel like those are themes. And so I guess it makes sense that my mind would automatically just be like, yeah, we building. Yeah, we moving. Yeah, you know? Um, but that's crazy to point out. That's something for me to take in real quick.
I noticed that like every one of your projects has something in some way to deal with direction. So, think about that, man, because it seems like it's manifesting in your music. So while we're on the topic of direction, I'd like to ask, just kind of following that topic, what would you tell the people as far as what's next for Maasai musically? Like, is there possibly another Air album in store? Like, where's the next step for Maasai?
Well, for sure, there's gonna be a lot of, I'm gonna dip into the facets of other artistic disciplines. As far as what the shifts is concerned, there's gonna be, visuals and things of that nature coming very soon. As well as, Air, we're definitely gonna drop something and have this be a continuous project. It's probably going to be something that people are going to have to wait for sure, because we're going to take our time with it. But yeah, I'm just going to keep releasing things. My vision definitely is, multidisciplined. So there's definitely going to be a lot of that.
Dope. So, Maassai, I just want to, pause to just say thank you so much for taking the time with me. I really appreciate, just the moment that you gave tonight. In closing, I just wanted to ask you this last question. If you had to define yourself, right? Like, if you had to define yourself, how do you see yourself now as an artist? And what would you hope to evolve into as an artist? So dealing with who you are now, going to who you would hope to evolve into artistically.
Who I am now as an artist, I would consider myself to be, a searching, and not in the same way that I was when I was younger, trying to find my sound or, find what sounds good. Because I've been doing that for a while, but I think that who I am as an artist is, diving into, it's a platform for me to dive into understanding also who I am as a person right now. And I think I'm in a space of searching. So I would say that I'm a writer, a visionary, and I hope to be in the future someone who continues to evolve in vision and continue to execute, the full range of the visions.
Well said.
Thank you.
Like, no doubt. I feel like there's so much more for you, right? Like, I feel like even though Velocity is such a dope project and we're getting with the shifts this year, like, I just feel like there's so much more, right? And you create the perfect setup for people to be intrigued. So I look forward to seeing your career flourish.
Thank you.
Be you and represent lyrically like you do, So I'm definitely gonna be checking out, and I mean, last year was like a really busy year for you, and I feel like we're still kind of early in the year. So hopefully we see something else from you, yeah.
You definitely will. Yeah, thank you so much for all your kind ass words and for just having me and helping me come to revelations about my art and shit right now. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna meditate on that one.
Yeah, man. You're promising, like I've been listening to music for a long time, particularly hip hop, because that's my love, and I could definitely see like when somebody has the talent, and you definitely have it, and you seem to have the work ethic too, I actually wanted to ask you about that. How have you been able to like kind of keep up? Like, cause I think you released like 3 projects last year, or you know, you
Mhm.
were really busy last year. Like, how have you been able to like stay consistent?
Well, I would say for sure, quarantine, not doing shows. Because as I was saying before, I was really a freelance gigging artist, like gig to gig kind of thing. So I was at a show like every week. I was always out, and if it wasn't me performing, it was me supporting a friend or maybe on a friend's set. And I you don't get the time on top of having an actual part-time, job to, pay for what I need to pay for. Um, yeah, you just don't have the time really to dive in to your creativity as much. Over quarantine, I was able to put my full energy into that. I was in solitude, just like, searching. And so I was able to produce lots and lots of content then. And now I feel like I'm in a good workflow of execution. Like that has me on a track.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, quarantine did a lot for a lot of people's creativity and production.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully, a lot of people, if they were able to, they were able to just tap into their creativity. And I
Mm-hmm.
that, we got a chance to see the fruits of that labor for you and Jay Words as well. So, yeah.
Facts.
So, thank you again, Masai. I want to wish you all the best. And like I said, I'm gonna definitely be checking out new music from you and really just going back to some of the stuff that I need to go back to again. Cause that Air album, I really, like it's you can't get enough of it. You can keep going back and getting new stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty dope. So to all of our listeners and viewers out there, thank y'all for tuning in to Out the Box Talks. Remember, next Friday we have another episode. All of the links to the website, the Patreon page, our merch store, they'll be in the description box below. So again, keep it locked. Every Friday we put out a new episode, and we'll see you guys next week. So I just want to say peace, love, and light. Stay focused, stay healthy, and we see you next time. We out of here. Thanks again, Masai.
Thank you so much.
We are out of here.